Enjoyed hanging out on the Via Ferrata with the Telluride Mountain Club. Now I am here with Art Goodtimes, ex-county commissioner, poet, patriarch of the Telluride Mushroom Festival, which is this weekend.
That's right. We're excited.
So first, we love to talk about how you got here, how you got your start in Telluride.
Telluride. Yeah, you know, it was funny. I was a hippie, so I traveled across the country a couple times from San Francisco. I mean, I came to San Francisco as a little baby. I was born there, and then went into a seminary, studied to be a Roman Catholic priest for 7 years, took Latin and Greek, and got into mycology, was a part of the San Francisco Mycological Society. And as a hippie, I traveled back and forth, and Telluride was one of the stops on the way. This was a great place. I remember the marshal at the time was playing drums, and it was a bar owned by a couple characters here, and they were smoking dope on the street. I'm like, whoa! And the marshal's playing drums in your band? I like this place. So, I came back and hung out and was lucky that Telluride, if the mountains like you, they hold you. I had a house burned down, so they hold you and they kind of hit you a little bit. And then if you stay, then this is a really special place. So lucky for me, I got a phone call from Manny Salzman saying I got a job right away as the director of the Telluride Council on the Arts and Humanities, because I was a poet from San Francisco. So they trusted me, and I got this job, and suddenly I'm in all the marketing. I'm going to all these meetings. People are saying, I got interviewed by Grilled in Telluride, Jerry Green. And when he introduced himself, he shook hands left-handed. He was like, who is this dude?
I love it. So what year did you actually officially move?
So it was in 1980, in the fall that I came here. And so I was looking through the old papers the other day, and Pandora's Box, the column I'm writing now for the Watch, they only let me do it every 2 weeks, but I was doing it weekly then. It was January 1st, 1981. Wow. So I've been here since 81. I've been doing this column in Telluride. So I'm an old kind of scan of this place.
Yeah.
I remember coming here when they were doing the first picnic to sort of do the groundbreaking on the mountain village. I was thinking about that as I was doing the gondola,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So you've seen Telluride from kind of roots up.
Well, I haven't.
At that point.
Yeah, at that point. I came just as the ski area started to develop. It was it was when the tourism economic picture kind of took off.
Brilliant. So then what got you involved in the Mushroom Festival?
Well, like I say, I was at this desk as the Arts Council director, and I got this phone call from this Dr. Emmanuel Salzman. We've been doing a mushroom conference in Aspen, but we want to know, is there anybody in Telluride could help us put it on here? And I was like, so it was perfect. I didn't think, most of the town was mycophobic. Nobody really wanted to go out hunting mushrooms. Bill Hamner, Poppy, we used to call him, was one of the few in the Gertz family. They knew where some of the good spots were, but most people were afraid of mushrooms here, so nobody went out picking them. And so when they came, I was able to help them set up. And the second year, actually, I wasn't here. I was off on a tour, herbal tour with my partner at the time, with Rosemary Gladstar. We were looking at herb farms and situations all around the Northwest. And I guess it didn't go so well. So the third year, when I came back and I was really having a hard time finding a job, my house had burnt down, I'd quit my job. It was really a mess. The sting of the mountains caught me. When I came back, they said, well, will you come and help us with the Mushroom Festival? I said, well, I'm not the Arts Council director anymore. I don't have any clout in the town. They said, no, come help us. And so I started being the person who was on site, doing all of the regulatory and setup and operations.
Brilliant. So were you a mushroom hunter prior to, or?
Yeah, when I was in San Francisco, I had joined the San Francisco Mycological Society, and so I'd been a part of that, going out hunting mushrooms, and I studied them a little bit. I'd gone out with some friends. I'd seen one once. I was like, what the heck is that? Sitting on a bank of a creek up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, this bright red was hygrophorus, this giant mushroom on this with the sunlight shining on it. And I used to go hiking up the creeks. I'd go barefoot, go running up creeks. It was kind of one of the things I liked to do in California when I was younger. And there was this incredible mushroom. And then I started going out with a friend picking oyster mushrooms, which grow on the trees and are delicious edibles. Mm-hmm. And so we got to a special spot of hers, and pretty soon I was totally hooked. So when Manny called, I was like, oh yeah, I'll be the one to help you.
Right. Absolutely fitting. So Then the Mushroom Festival evolved and has grown into what it is today. What are you most excited for this weekend as far as programming goes?
Well, yeah, it's it started out as Wild Mushrooms Telluride was a conference. It was actually a medical conference. Dr. Emmanuel Salzman just died, Manny. He founded the conference and really was the guiding spirit behind it, kept it going for 25 years, and then he just passed away. He was riding his bicycle in Denver, in Lodo, at 99. It was only this spring that they finally stopped him from riding his bicycle.
Amazing.
And he was hit a couple times by buses. Amazing man.
Yeah.
Grew beautiful little cactus up on his roof, psychedelic cactus.
Psychedelic cactus. Tell us more about that.
So I grow, I have a psychedelic cactus that I grow. It's a really wonderful San Pedro's. And I got a little one like this, and now I have a room full of them. And I don't take them because theogenic experiences are really intense. This is like a religious experience. If you want to do it, or if you do it under medical conditions for certain treatments, that's great. But as people talk about recreation, well, maybe recreation, but not recreation, because, boy, those are heavy-duty things. But I love to see them grow. They're beautiful. They grow fast, and they have tiny, tiny little needles. And they bloom once a year.
Wow. That's amazing. So one of the most interesting things that I've been reading about is the effects of psilocybin on mental health.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest kind of discoveries of the summer for a lot of science in mental health.
Exactly.
So, resetting depression, treating anxiety, so on and so forth. What part of the festival really covers that portion?
Well, that was always Manny's
That was his
main
realm.
issue. He was a physical doctor, radiation at Beth Israel Hospital. He started these conferences with Beth Israel trying to get medical stuff, but people didn't want to talk about the psychedelic. They didn't want to talk about, the psychedelic as, or we call it entheogenic now, but they didn't want to talk about those substances as medicine.
Right.
And that was Manny's big thing. He always carried a sign, almost always, in the parade that said, psilocybe is RX. Because he always felt medicine was important. So I think the one thing that the Telluride Mushroom Festival has had going for it for 38 years now is that it's one of the only conferences in the country where people could talk about entheogens of all kinds, not just mushrooms, and do it legally and not get into sort of a big hassle with the establishment. Nobody ever came and busted us. Nobody ever came and tried to close it down. So for 30-some years, we've had some of the major people in the world of entheogenic research. Sasha Shulgin, Terence McKenna, Jason Ott, all these incredible people. We've had Nobel Prize winners. We've had incredible speakers. And I'm always amazed that people in Telluride don't even know what's happening. It's so funny. Because we've had major discussions mostly about the place and purpose of entheogens in a society. So I think the medical one, and I'm really hoping, it sounds like Michael Pollan is coming next year to the Mushroom Festival, which would be so exciting because we are all pleased to see them go from law enforcement to science, prohibition to actual understanding of what this thing is or isn't. We still need more studies, and there are some being done. But it seems pretty clear, and Michael shows it really well in his new book, it's a way to change your way of thinking. So it's like one of these things that maybe in your 20s or 30s it would be a really good idea. They used to do coming-of-age ceremonies, most societies. But I think now we're such individuals. We're from a Protestant background. We believe in ourselves and we understand ourselves. We want to learn ourselves. So I think if we gave kids under sort of a medical, but I think more a psychological kind of approach, we could actually make opportunities for therapeutic use, not just for medicine, but also for visioning. But again, I think if we do it in this crazy, everybody does whatever way, it can be very dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, you brought up Terence McKenna, who is a mushroom guru of the past, and we actually have a retro ride flashback to one of his presentations in 1991. Thank you so much, Art. Let's check that one out.